are 13 dramatic Coronation Street spoilers for next week, including wedding day chaos, sepsis horror, and a marriage proposal. Stick around. Spoiler 1, Carla reveals her relationship news. Lisa's not impressed when she finds a picture of Mason in Betsy's room on social media. However, Carla has some happy news to share as she announces her relationship to Lisa with the factory staff. Betsy makes a sarcastic remark that only angers Lisa further. Carla invites Betsy to join her and Lisa for a meal, but things are still sour when Betsy invites Mason too. And there's bad news in store for Carla in our next spoiler, so stay tuned to find out what it could be. Spoiler 2, Carla's rushed to hospital. Roy worries about Carla when she starts to hear things and then accompanies her to hospital when he finds her quickly losing consciousness. The doctor then tells Roy that Carla might have sepsis. Lisa heads back home to surprise Carla with wine and flowers, but Carla's not there. As the doctor tells Carla that the sepsis has damaged her kidney and that she might have to have another transplant, Lisa turns up at the hospital. Lisa's not impressed that Carla lied to her about where she was, hurt by Carla's secrecy. She then decides to leave Carla to go through this whole ordeal alone. Can she put things right though? Spoiler 3, Lisa sparks concerns. With Lisa moving into Carla's flat due to burst pipes, Carla heads on a romantic date with her girlfriend. However, Lisa has to rush off to deal with an urgent work situation and later returns with a split lip. Lisa insists that she'll be fine to celebrate New Year with Carla though. But as Carla tells Lisa that she loves her, will she say it back? Spoiler 4, Lisa wants answers. Whilst Carla is in the hospital, Lisa has no idea that she's unwell. Instead, she confronts Matty at the precinct and demands that he tells her all he knows about Becky's death. Lisa then shows Mason photos of the crime scene from Becky's death and tells him that his brothers were involved. Mason then teams up with Dylan, asking him to look out for him whilst he searches his brother's place. He then heads to the police station with a World War II helmet he found there. But what does this mean? Spoiler 5, Mason and Betsy get close. Mason makes peace with Dylan and starts to put efforts in with Betsy by preparing her a romantic meal with candles. The teens spend the afternoon in bed together, but Betsy's disheartened to hear that Stu's asked Mason to take on a job as a trainee chef in Germany. Will Mason accept? Spoiler 6, Daisy's emotions are at a high. Daisy and Kit sit down at speed dial together, but things are awkward when Daniel and Bethany turn up and sit at the table close to them. Bethany dresses herself up and feels more confident again, and with this, Daniel knows what he must do. Later on, Daisy's emotions are all over the place when Sarah catches Daniel speaking to her and asks her what is going on. Daisy then makes the difficult decision to cut ties with little Bertie, returning his toys. Spoiler 7, Lauren has a big decision to make. With little Frankie needing a donor, Lauren considers pleading guilty in the hopes of getting a lesser sentence. However, Max visits her and makes his concerns known. Max then tells Lauren that if she pleads guilty, Frankie will always think that his mum killed his dad. As the trial approaches, Lauren fears the worst. Spoiler 8, Gail's wedding day arrives. Jesse tells David that he's laundered the last of the cash, quickly covering when Gail walks in by saying that he's booked a honeymoon in the Maldives. Audrey's suspicious and gives Gail an ultimatum. It's her or Jesse. At Gail's leaving party, Audrey then blurts out that David and Jesse are keeping something from Gail. On the sofa, Gail starts to doze off. Anne is visited by a certain someone, but will they give her any valuable advice? On Christmas Day, the wedding day arrives, but will Gail leave Weatherfield alone or with her man by her side? Spoiler 9, David fights back. David's baffled when he doesn't open aftershave as a present at Christmas, despite having previously found it and shown his bag. He then smells some aftershave on Adam and soon accuses him of sleeping with Shona. With Adam drunk, a clash ensues as Adam falls down the stairs. Later, livid David wants to tear Kit apart too and hopes to lure him into a confession about his crimes with Nathan Curtis. Kit then decides to take the law into his own hands though, whilst also scaring David by bringing up the Radcliffe brothers. And we've still got 4 more exciting Coronation Street spoilers to come, so don't go anywhere. Spoiler 10. Evelyn looks to the future. Roy suggests to Evelyn that she studies for a law degree, with Evelyn soon bagging herself a university interview. She's not happy to see Marjorie Tavistock at the interview though, the person she pretended to be at the law lecture. Spoiler 11. Daniel proposes to Bethany. Bethany decides to wear her old clothes again, but feels as though Daniel doesn't love her. Daniel tries to assure her that he loves her deeply, and decides to propose to her, but will Bethany accept? Spoiler 12. Leanne plots her revenge. Nick returns from Tenerife as Leanne tells him there's a problem with their bank accounts. Toya then turns up and is shocked to be arrested by Kit on suspicion of theft and fraud by abuse of trust. With Toya assuring Nick that she didn't commit fraud, Leanne finds a pile of Christmas presents from Nick to Toya and shows them to Craig. She reckons this is proof that they were working together. At Gail and Jesse's wedding, Leanne and Toya get into a huge bust-up as Max takes pleasure in filming their fight. It isn't long before Nick watches the CCTV and realises that Leanne has 2 phones. But Toya and Nick worry when they realise that Leanne could face a custodial sentence for her meddling. And finally, spoiler 13, Cassie tries to impress Ken. Cassie gives Ken a Christmas present, an album by his favourite composer. Ken then gives her a scarf from Porto. After this, Cassie starts crying and tells Ken that she's struggling for cash after buying presents for everyone. Cassie then does a good job at buttering Ken up in a bid to make Steve think that she fancies Ken. While Steve was considering moving out, Tracy makes him see that, with Cassie roaming around, this would be a bad move. And if you enjoyed this week's Coronation Street spoilers, subscribe so you can come back next week for more Weatherfield news.